It is in all the three main domains, namely knowledge, attitude, and competencies. I, on behalf of entire IMI community, welcome this 8th batch of postgraduate diploma in human resources management. On behalf of entire IMI fraternity, I would like to take this opportunity to express my hearty welcome to Sri Mahesh Bhatt Sabji for honoring our invitation to be a chief guest of this important function and inaugurate the PGDM and PGDM-HRM program of batch 2013 and 15. With this, once again, I welcome you all. Now I request our Director General, Professor Pritam Singh, to present a bouquet of flowers to welcome our chief guest, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We will now be lighting the lamp of learning as an auspicious beginning for the new batch. I request Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, Dr. Pritam Singh, and Dr. Maitri to kindly come forward and light the lamp. I would also request Mr. Ajay Kanchan to join the lamp proceedings.
Thank you, sir. It is my privilege to introduce Director General Dr. Pritam Singh to you. Dr. Pritam Singh has been the chairman and member of several policy-making committees and bodies of the Government of India and is widely consulted on policy issues that surround both management education and corporate management in India. He also sits on the board of more than 50 reputed private and public sector organizations. As a consultant, Dr. Pritam Singh has done work with more than 200 CEOs in India and abroad, and conducted more than 100 retreats for the top managements of both private and public sector organizations, as well as multinational corporations. He has had the distinction of organizing and directing the first retreat of the central ministries as part of late Sri Rajiv Gandhi's initiative to develop ministries as transformational leaders and change masters. He has recently been appointed by the Planning Commission as the chairman of the 12th Five-Year Plan Subcommittee on Institutional Management and Leadership Development in Higher Education. As an academic administrator, he has had an unparalleled record, having held 2 highly successful tenures as director at MDI Gurgaon and also at IIM Lucknow. Dr. Singh is the author of 7 academically reputed books, 3 of which are award-winning. He has also published over 60 research papers in various national and international journals. He is a globally sought-after speaker and has addressed various Indian and global audiences, including chambers of commerce in various countries. His distinguished services were acknowledged by the country when the President of India conferred on him the prestigious Padma Shri in the year 2003, a first for any professor and a serving director in India to have received this coveted award in the field of management education. He is also the recipient of many coveted international and national awards in the field of education and management. Sir, thank you for being with us today. As a token of respect, we would like to present you with a bouquet. We request you to kindly join us on the dais and share your thoughts.
Respected Sri Mahesh Bhatt ji, Ajay ji, my colleague Dr. Mantri, and my distinguished colleagues and dear students. I join my dean in extending a very hearty welcome to all of you, the great future managers. We would be having a tremendous sense of pride that we groom them as the great leaders. You may like to ask a question that in all the inaugural sessions, we have been calling the CEOs, the corporate honchos, and many distinguished leaders from the corporate world and the government. And then you may be wondering, how come this time this kind of deviation, not calling corporate honchos and the corporate leaders and deciding to call Mahesh Bhatt ji? I think that we had endless debate with the dean and some of my colleagues, and we said that, well, let's not follow the beaten track. Do something very different. So then they asked me, what do you mean by that? I said that if we get two persons from the entertainment world and the world of art, we would be extremely grateful. And I think that Matthew asked a question to me that who are those two persons? I said, well, the one is Mahesh Bhatt ji and the second one is Shyam Benegal. So he said, between the two, whom you would like to think as number one or first? I said, well, when Mahesh ji comes, we would be extremely grateful. So then he was very keen to find out why Mahesh ji, why not Shyam Benegal? I think that, those persons who deviate from the beaten track and those who say miles and miles to go, I think that I would put him as number one, and then I think that Shyam Benegal. And that's why we requested you, sir, gave you trouble to come, and thank you very much. And thank you very much, Ajay ji, that you persuaded him, or you requested him, let's try to put that way, to come, and he gladly accepted. There has been another reason. If the world has changed, the world hasn't changed because of the kings and emperors. Because king's mind is a controlling mind. King's mind is obstructing mind. King's mind is arresting mind. It's the mind of the philosopher, mind of the thinkers, mind of the writers, and mind of the painters. They have changed the world. So whatever goodness you find in the world today, it all has come by thinkers, philosophers, and non-king leaders. That's why someone asked a question to Janaka once upon a time, who is a great king? And the reply of Janak was, no king can be a great king without being a great philosopher, which was subsequently extended by Plato. And Plato said, no philosopher can be a great philosopher without being a great king. I think that Mahesh ji is one who is a great king without kingdom. He's a great philosopher because I have seen many movies by him, I think that, but two movies I remember very distinctly, Arth and Sarans. Sarans gave me new meaning to my life. And I always say that we must go on creating new curves of purpose, because it's the purpose that provides meaning. So that is the one movie I could hear the meaning of creating second curve and second purpose in life. So that's why he is here. And I think that I know that Matriji said that you take 10 minutes. So I said that I would not take more than 7 minutes, because all my colleagues and all dear students and the staff, they all are very keen to listen to him than listening to me, because you will get plenty of occasions to listen to me. Few words about this school, sir. I think that this school is ranked now number 6 in the country. After Ahmedabad, Calcutta, Bangalore, Excelrai, Lucknow, we are ranked as number 6. It's not a very great achievement. Don't think it's a very great achievement. But by the time you pass out, we may be ranked as number 3 in the country. And it will happen. However, the great strength is that we are ranked as number 3 in marketing. We are ranked as number 2 in the area of HR and people development, number 5 in the area of finance, number 5 in the area of strategy, and number 7 in the area of operations management. I think that with the coming of Osho, because JD is popularly known as Osho, I think that the marketing area will have to be number 1. I think that and finance people, they have got the mandate, and this is a self-evolved mandate, not by me, that they would like to be ranked as number 3. So that's the journey. It's a very unique kind of a school in the country, very, very unique kind of a school in the country. This is the only school which began by the corporate world people. This is the only school which had the great history of having collaboration with IMI Geneva. It's known as IMD Lausanne today. And IMD Lausanne is ranked as number 1 today in the world in the area of executive education. Not only we had with IMI Geneva and IMD Lausanne, but we also had linkage with Manchester and McGill. And many colleagues who are here, they have gone and taught in McGill and Manchester, and so they have been the global kind of thing. We are very lucky. I would like to say only one sense of pride we can say, tremendous sense of pride, that in the area of intellectual capital and quality of the faculty, we are ranked as number 3. It's a very great achievement. And I think that great gurus, they groom great leaders. I think that we had some kind of discussion in the morning that if the gurus get away from the doctrines, they can become the great gurus. Because many times gurus become the slave of the doctrines, so they create their own mold, and they would like to have the plastic kind of followers in that. I think that, we have got tremendous sense of pride, dear students, to have such great galaxy, great stars of the faculty. Very few schools can have a sense of pride to have that kind of faculty. I think that on your behalf, on my behalf, on behalf of the entire faculty community and IMI staff, we extend a very hearty welcome to Bhatt sir, that he decided to spend some time with us. And I was saying that, well, we won't, I didn't use the word, I said that I would request you. But now I can say we won't allow him to get out from the campus unless he gives 20 minutes of interview, which we would like to show to the corporate honchos and the CEO in our training program. I think that you began with the great wisdom of India, that tamso ma jyotirgamay. It's your journey in life, from darkness to life. That is the greatest journey of human life. So remember, tamso ma jyotirgamay, Asato ma sadgamaya, from non-truth to truth, and mrityu ma amritangamaya. These are the three journeys, friends. We would be doing everything around that. And you are going to see both the movies of Mahesh Bhattji, and I would be moderating both the movies. Arth and I think that Saransh. You are going to have, sir, we are thinking of many such occasions where we would be inviting people from the world of art so that we can create a very different kind of atmosphere, because we are not in the business of only heightening the power of your mind, but we are more would like to be in the business of heightening the power of your soul. So that is the crisis. So I think that you find this school would be having a very fantastic and very powerful symbiosis of mind and soul. And of course, you know that you all are very pale-hearted and also body movement. These few words, may I now request you, sir, to give your, I think that you might have heard about Diksha and Siksha. Diksha is normally in the end, but we are beginning with Diksha in the beginning itself. With these words, sir, please come.
Sir, it is my pleasure to introduce today's chief guest, Sri Mahesh Bhatt Saab, a famous writer, director, producer, and social activist known for making movies based on his own life. He began his career in cinema when he was 21 years old, went on to direct both art and commercial movies, winning numerous awards along the way. Apart from movies, spirituality is a big part of his life. He was interested in teachings of U.G. Krishnamurti and has also written a biography called U.G. Krishnamurti, A Life in 1992. So Bhatt Saab also worked on television serials like Swabhiman, A Mouthful of Sky, Kabhi Kabhi. Recently, he has been writing a column for Times Lives on various issues concerning people, their emotions, and feelings. Sri Bhatt made his directorial journey with Sak in 1970. With release of Earth, he won the Best Screenplay Award, while the lead actress Shabana Azmi won a national award for her performance. The movie was inspired by his own life and was women-centered. He wrote and directed Saransh in 1984 about a couple who lose their only son and the entry of an actress into their life. He won the Filmfare Award for the Best Story and Special Prize at Moscow International Film Festival. Aski became one of the best love stories told in the Bollywood, making the lead couple Anu Agarwal and Rahul Roy a famous overnight. Hum Hai Rahi Pyar Ke with Juhi Chawla and Amir Khan won several awards. Jak, which was yet another movie based on real life story, was noteworthy success. It won him the Filmfare Best Story Award and Nargis Dutt National Award for the Best Feature Film on National Integration. He co-owns a production house, Vishesh Films. Some of the movies released under the banner are Raj and Gangster. Sri Bhatt has also scripted movies like Murder, Jahar, and O Lame. His recent production, Aski 2, has been a massive success at the box office. As all of you know, Bhatt Saab is known for his radical thinking and passion for creativity. He is rarest of the rare person in the country who connects with the youngest generation and understands their way of thinking, and this is the novel quality in itself. It is our honor to have him with us today. Sir, now I invite you to deliver inaugural address.
reminded of that song of Jagjit, "Baat niklegi to bahut dur tak jayegi." I don't know where to begin, but I guess I will just begin. I don't know why I was sitting down there, I was reminded of a saying which I heard from the mouth of the great thinker, philosopher, iconoclast, U.G. Krishnamurti, who has shaped my life and made me what I really am. He once told me on a cold winter morning in Bangalore, it was in connection with the issue of teaching and institutions. He said, institutions polish pebbles and dim diamonds. And then we discussed, and the essence of that talk was that the innocence that is there in every child is inherent, is gifted by Mother Nature. Never was there a child like you, never will there be a child like you. You are Mother Nature's most unique creation. But what the human society does, what institutions and colleges and schools do, is to prune you of your uniqueness, rob you of that distinctive attribute, and make you a part of the more common mold. So in fact, Singh Saab and we were discussing, the problem is the mold. No Buddha has created another Buddha. So in fact, I used to call schools and colleges Gestapo camps, where human beings are brainwashed. The idea is how to use the syllabus, but not to be shackled, not to stay like a dog tied to a pole. The syllabus is just a springboard to hurl you into the unknown. But you're so petrified, you want acceptance. You seek acceptance, so you cut yourself, prune yourself, and you become a great monkey. And the human society rewards monkeys, rewards mimics. That's why the great line of great Friedrich Nietzsche, show me a great man and I will show you an imitation of his own ideals. So what are we? Are we ourselves? Or are we monkeys of the cultural models that are placed in front of us? Because if we are merely that, then it's a life which is wasted. There's a great line of Carl Gustav Jung, who said that the most terrifying thing in the world is to own yourself completely. The most terrifying thing in life is to own yourself completely. And unless you begin to own yourself completely, your journey will not begin. And that's what happened to me. I began my journey like anybody. I fumbled and stumbled through school and college. I was a college dropout. I couldn't make it through college. If my teachers had their way, I would have committed suicide. They said something is wrong with you, and I felt everything was wrong with them. There was nothing wrong with me. Because I saw them pretending to be something which they actually were not in private life. Nor my teachers, nor my parents were living what they were talking. I used to say, why do you teach something which is not operating in your life? Why do you talk about courage when there is nothing but cowardice ingrained in every cell of your being? I used to ask the priest of my institution, who should be the first one to run away when there was a riot outside our college. So it took me a while to understand that there is a mask, and behind the mask there's a real face, and people are too frightened to reveal that real face. I dropped out, and since I was good with sound and images, I began my journey as a filmmaker. I must tell you this fascinating story. Since Singh Saab is here, it connects with the city of Banaras. I was barely 19 years old when a friend of mine said that you are a filmmaker, born to be a filmmaker, born to do great things. let's make a movie. I said, who the hell is going to give us money? So he said, I know of a landlord who is in Bodh Gaya, the land where the Buddha got enlightenment, who wants to invest money in the world of movies. So I've got some money together. Let's go by train and let us lure him. You tell him the story. You have a very enchanting style. You can mesmerize people with your narrative skills. And then he'll give you the money. But we'll have to take a detour. We'll have to go through the holy city of Benares. So I said, why? He said, because there is a tantric guru of mine. He has something to give me, to give us. So I remember at the crack of dawn, years ago, I landed in Benares, the holy city of Benares. And we went to this tantric, and who was a fascinating man who was attending to people who had lost their cows and lost their cycles and helping them to get those things back. And at the end of the day, after holding audience, he said that, oh, you want to become a filmmaker, you want to seek finance? I'll tell you something. Take this and feed it to your potential investor and you will get the finance. And guess what he gave me? It was a piece of flesh from the ghats, from the corpse. And I was revolted. He says, don't make faces, it will work. And now began the drama of these two young men going to Bodh Gaya to meet this landlord who had this gun-toting guards. And there were innumerable mosquitoes there. And how we tried to feed him that strange piece of flesh in his pan or in his tea. Through various scenes of trial and error, finally we succeeded, and my friend said, you go away. I will come back with the money. Fade out, fade in. 3 months later, a battered and worn-out friend of mine returns back from Benares, from Gaya, looking devastated. I said, what happened? He says, nothing happened. The trick did not work. The man kicked me out. There was no money that he was given to me. And I discovered that the so-called tantric, who was my magic carpet to stardom, had not worked. Fade out 40 years later, I had the biggest investor from the 20th Century Fox, who supports films like Titanic, Avatar, who came to my office and said that we in the 20th Century Fox want to have very strong ties with you and your company. We want to make inroads into India. So your is one company that we would like to have an ongoing relationship. And I look back at my journey. It began through that strange encounter with the tantric. And then I said, oh my God, I must have done something right in the last 40 years to deserve the visit of such a powerful entertainment mogul. And that is when I said, what is it that I must have done right? And what I discovered to myself was, it's finally when I owned up my own voice that I come into my own. My early films were a disaster because I was just trying to monkey others in the marketplace. And I should do it very well, but in spite of that, I found no success. The first 4 films were a disaster, and I was called, oh, he's a potential filmmaker who's been nipped in the bud. And then life shattered me. I was a young boy who had married at the age of 20, became a father at 21. I went through the spiritual market. I went looking for enlightenment at the doors of Osho Rajneesh. I went to listen to the discourse of J. Krishnamurti. I went shopping around everywhere. I dropped LSD like Steve Jobs and had all these kind of strange experiences. But I was a misfit in this world. I couldn't be successful. And then I got into an extramarital affair with a superstar, and she was a kind of an ice pack for my wounded ego. I was a failure, and I thought I was a somebody because I had a girlfriend. But in fact, I was nothing but her toy boy. My only identity was that I was her boyfriend. And I realized that that used to eat me up all the time. I wanted to be somebody in the scheme of things on my own. And after she had a nervous breakdown, this actress, her name was Praveen Babi, that I chronicled my anguish into a narrative. But I told the story through the perspective of my wife whom I had abandoned. And I told the story of what it is for a woman to find herself. And the narrative of Arth articulated only one thing, that however shaky they are, they have to be your feet. Don't lean on golden crutches or diamond crutches, because they are still crutches. The sun may be a god, but when it sets, it leaves darkness around you. That's why the Buddha said, Swayam Pramana, Swayam Prakasha. Be a light unto yourself. So I discovered that in my own personal tragedy was the story of mankind. And when I made Earth, I had strange experiences of women, middle class women from Banaras, from Patna, whom I should meet, and they said, how did you tell our story? I said, no, I told my story. I did not know that it was your story. And then I discovered that human beings are pathetically similar. There's nothing unique about any one of us. There must be some superficial differences that you and me have. Our backgrounds. Maybe you may have a unique background in terms of the place you're born. But deep down, we are all pathetically similar. And that's why when I touch you, I somewhere must have touched myself. That's why I've touched you. That's what I discovered. I discovered that there is the heartbeat of mankind, which is not out there. There's no holy grail outside there. It is somewhere within you. But the danger is, the moment you find success, the market comes and tries to make that into a formula. And you too are a willing participant in that game. So the autobiographical idiom that I had stumbled upon worked miraculously for me in my 3 films. I had made a film called which I made Saransh, because in Saransh I faced the finality of death, because I had seen a friend of mine die, and I had encountered an old school teacher of a Maharashtrian school who had lost his son in New York. And he and his wife used to try and figure out how they would go on. And this school teacher was a Gandhian who saw the India of that time was corrupt and not the India that he had fought for. And then yet he used to keep on saying, why shouldn't I, like Arthur Koestler, kill myself? And me and my wife. That was the question he should keep on asking. And then I said, why not take his life and infuse it some meaning? And as Singh Saab said, that the only meaning is the purpose you give yourself. There's a marvelous scene in that film where when he is, the hero played by Anupam Kher, was a 28-year-old boy who played the role of an 80-year-old man, asked at the crack of dawn his friend that I don't know how I can go on, because he has nothing but the anguished memory of his son being killed. He doesn't believe in afterlife. He doesn't believe in reincarnation. He's an atheist. And his friend, who's a very meek-looking anonymous man, says that when my wife died, I know what was the purpose of my life? Just getting 2 bottles of milk for you and your wife every morning, and bringing some flowers for puja to your wife. That became the meaning of my life. That became the purpose of my life. And it's the small things that you discover purpose. This was the essence of Saransh. The film got critical acclaim, but not box office success. But I'm delighted to know that years later, almost 30 years later, Singh Saab still remembers that film. It still resonates in him. That means things which are born from those spaces of your being find a kind of a space which is timeless. And it has a fragrance which kind of lingers in the landscape. But, as I said, nothing fades like success. With success comes the market. And the market enslaves you. And it, as I said, that they enslave you by giving you precious gifts. Nobody would become a slave to the marketplace if they gave you crumbs. So that's what happened. Then the commercial filmmaking apparatus descended on me, and I kind of moved away from that kind of cinema and started making another kind of cinema. I am not apologetic for that kind of cinema. It was a choice that I exercised. And in the 90s, I changed my kind of cinema and started making a different kind of cinema like Ashiki, Dil Hai Kamanta Nahi, Sadak Hame Rai Pyar Ke, because I discovered India had changed. And one of the most important things for an artist or a filmmaker or a product manufacturer is to continuously keep on looking at the world that he lives in. The 90s were different. The new liberal economy had changed India. We were shaped by the Soviet socialist construct. We came from a world where denying yourself and saving money and investing it was the way of life of our parents. But the 90s, post-90, when the economy opened and the digital age was just about to descend on us and satellite came, the entertainment hub became the home, and the movies that we were making, which was seen by people like Singh Saab, suddenly they started staying home, and they were you guys whom I had to please, and you did not see that kind of cinema. And I had to make sure that I have the first 3 days full, otherwise I would sink without a whimper. And so I made what is called musicals with romance and engage with themes which would appeal to the younger people. And then what I was doing was not different from what the Barbie doll has been doing. The Barbie doll has been continuously being reinvented. The very fact it has survived so many decades is because it was continuously reinvented. And the filmmakers of the 80s who were icons, Sham Babu, he was talking about other filmmakers like Govind Nihalani and all that, did not change with the changing times. They chose to stay shackled for their own reasons to that kind of cinema. So they did not have movies that the market was interested in. So I reinvented myself because the audience had changed. There was no point of singing a ghazal to an audience which was not interested in Mehendi Hasan or Jagjit anymore. There was a new audience there, and they were interested in the music of Nadeem Shravan. And that's why Ashiki became one of the biggest musical hits of the 90s. And then when the digital age came, India changed. You moved into a global culture. Your morality changed. And the film industry was still shackled to the old moral references. That's why in the 21st century, I began with a conscious move was made to make no star-cast films with noir, erotica, and music as a component in it. And that's when the purists cried for my blood. Oh my God, what a fall it was, my countrymen. The man who made Earth and Saransh has now gravitated to an all-time zero. I said, what you call a fall is in fact a rise. It's an evolution. I refuse to be straitjacketed by the pigeonholes that you created for me. I will not get defined by you. Just because you stick a bogus label on me and say, oh, I'm a very evolved filmmaker. I chose to make a film for him, and now I choose not to make a film for him. I choose to make a film for that guy who's a cleaner of my building outside who doesn't have place in this room. And they are more in numbers. That's my choice. So as long as I cater to your taste bud, you will write about me and call me up on platforms and give me honors. But the moment I do not do that, you'll say, oh, he's a sellout, he has deteriorated. The fact is that in the 21st century, the economic clout that I got surpassed all the so-called critical and artistic standards that I had set for myself. I was a starving artist in the 80s, traveling in auto rickshaws, drinking half a bottle of rum, and worried where my next month's payment would come from. And my wife one day very candidly asked me, she said, what good is this fame if you can't convert it to money? And it was there was wisdom speaking from her mouth. This fame was worthless. So I, in the 21st century, reinvented my kind of cinema. Made the maximum number of it. Got the maximum number of figures that were possible within that idiom. And when I had peaked in 2000 with last three, I said now it's time to change and go back. Because by then I was getting this unidimensional kind of an image. Oh, now They make only erotic films, something which the middle class doesn't want to see. The good people do not want to see. So I said, let's make the movie for the good people, because the good people have a lot of money in their pockets. They go to the multiplexes. So let's go down and change a song and sing their song. So I said, past forward was my mantra. So they said, what do you mean past forward? I said, we'll do what we did in the 90s. We'll make a you film now. And we will demolish the erotic model and say, no nude is good news. And then, the moment we did that, Ashiki 2 became one of the biggest hits of all time. It only proved that cinema going is a conservative business. You know, the families, when they go, why is the filmmaker interested in a family film? Because the family buys more tickets. It doesn't give a tinker's damn. If you may like erotic film, but if the whole family goes, we will make film for that. But families don't. In India, you have a conservative constituency which doesn't see that kind of cinema. They see it privately. So that's what I did, and so here I am, standing in front of you, 40 years after I began my journey, when I went to Banaras, looking for finance, successful. My last film is almost 100 crore business. It was made for merely 9.5 to 10 crores. With P&A, it's for 17 crores. So, as I said, return on equity, tremendous, well done. So I'm really happy with myself. So somebody asked me, Mahesh, why do you keep on blowing your trumpet? I said, because you don't blow it, I have to do it for myself. So I said that, but I played the game according to my instinct. And every time there was an attempt on the marketplace to cage me, to keep me leashed according to their idea of what was good, I rejected, I rebelled, I took it on my chin. I had a lot of brickbats when I moved up. The filmmaker who made Arth and Saransh, when he made Jism and Murder, had to face the heat of the so-called purity, because there's a tyranny of taste. The czars and the zarinas of culture who think who are very evolved impose their taste and say, that is what we say is good. I said, who the hell says that is good? I refuse to be defined by your taste buds. So I have done this in every decade, and well, I'm still here, making 3 more films, hopefully by the next, in 12 months, and they will be all distinct, but they would be, as I said, you films for the family entertainment. But barring one will be a horror film of international brand, which we have bought the rights of, which I will reveal later on. Now, the point which I wanted to make apart from this was, is that there's a fame epidemic outside. When we joined the movie Singh Saab, we knew that we had to work hard, and somewhere down the line after hard work, money will come and fame will come. But maybe it's a television reality show which has kind of whipped up the appetite in everybody in India for instant fame. This is the instant age. You want instant gratification. And today there are more people coming from small towns in India than there ever were to the movies to become, superstars or writers, directors. And there are heartbreaking stories out there playing out which don't reach your ears because the media only tells you the happy stories, the successful stories. It drugs you with all those beautiful images of starlets and stars dining and whining and celebrating their mega hits. But there are innumerable stories of tragic stories that don't reach your ear. So recently, in our backyard, there was this tragic death of this actor, young actor whom I had introduced, called Jia Khan. But I discovered that she was suffering from mood disorder, so we had parted ways 10 years back. And then recently she committed suicide. And of course, she suffered from mood disorder. She was a victim of depression. And the environment that is the movie environment created a kind of, was worked as a trigger or the catalyst to kind of make her take the extreme step. And that's when we sat down, some of us, me and my friend from the Federation, Workers' Federation body, and we said we're going to put together a kind of a cell which is going to be accessible to film people to deal with the highs and lows of life, because our business, there's no glamour in our business. It's either in the heads of the people or in the newspapers. There's no glamour in our life. It's just a hard work and struggle all the time. So we're just about giving form to that kind of a cell which is going to be available to the film industry to deal with situations which push them around the bend. So I wanted to read out a letter. Some of you must have read this letter which I had written to the newcomers, and it was in the Times Live magazine section. But I think it's important because it's not only restricted to the world of movies, it's also applicable to all of you who are just beginning here, who are in your dawn of your career. It's a letter to newcomers. Struggle. That's the name of the game. Every successful person in the movies began their journey as a struggler. But the fact remains that no matter how successful you become, no matter how much you have achieved, and where you have arrived, the struggle never seems to end. There is no oasis yonder. Mankind is stuck with a mirage, let me tell you. But this is something you won't understand before you take this leap into the unknown world, that even we insiders don't fully comprehend. I wonder why most of you today no longer want to be engineers, or doctors, or pilots, or lawyers. I understand that fame is a thirst of mankind, particularly the youth. But all I hear these days is, I want to be famous, I want to be a celebrity. There's an epidemic of fame-obsessed youngsters between the ages of 15 and 25 who wrongly believe that becoming famous is a shortcut to wealth and eternal happiness. But let me tell you that nothing worth having comes that easily. Unfortunately, in the real world, not even the extraordinary talent guarantees success. I know of so many talented filmmakers, far more talented than I was, who couldn't make it. So even talent doesn't mean you're going to succeed. This is heartbreak land. For every Karan Johar, there are thousands who hardly make a living wage. For every Ranbir Kapoor, there are thousands of actors, some of them extremely talented, unable to make ends meet. The number of people in the entertainment business who make silly amounts of huge cash represents a very small percentage of those employed in this industry. A vast majority make just enough to get by. That's a fact. You scratch them and you find that they've got EMIs which they have not been able to pay. And who on earth told you that fame insulates one from insecurity anyway? Let me assure you that once you get rich and famous, your self-doubt will increase in leaps and bounds. In showbiz, first you struggle to attain, and then you struggle to retain. Struggle, that's the name of the game. I don't think it's only in showbiz, even in the world of politics anyway. You first struggle to attain, then the struggle to retain. Fame is not easy to handle. I've seen normal people turn into monsters overnight. They constantly need to be told that they are the biggest and the best. They are fame junkies. Steven Spielberg confessed that I'm a fame junkie. I suffer from fame withdrawals. I want applause. That's why the moment I said, clap a little harder. Fame is scary. The more you have, the more you need, and the more you have to lose. And then one day, a younger star will arrive on the scene and sell more tickets than you, and that's really that's really tough to take. When my children ask me for advice about how to handle this unpredictable terrain, I tell them to enjoy it because it won't last. Get the best experiences you can from it, because celebrity can bring great privileges and unbelievable opportunities, like getting invited to your college. But don't think it's forever. It's not. Perhaps it's difficult to appreciate what I'm saying when you're young. That's the arrogance of youth. But the fact is that it's the fleeting nature of fame that gives it its allure. This business is all about transient. So keep your family close to you. You will need them to help you deal with the bumps. And when the arc light finally fades, don't think life has ended. There's a universe beyond this little puddle of light. Life is bigger than the movies after all. This was my advice to those who want to be in the movies. But to you guys, all of you have dreams in your eyes. I assure you, you will make it. Each one of you will make it. I promise you. If there's one thing that I have discovered, I have no holy grail that I've stumbled upon. But if I have to drop dead the next minute and you ask me, what is your mass message to the generation that is struggling to find a foothold, I would say, dare to be yourself. Because never was there a child like you. Never will be there a child like you. You're the most unique creation of this universe. Unless you own yourself completely, you will not even begin. A Mahesh Bhatt did it, a Steve Jobs has done that, and all those guys whom you admire began with their shaky feet. We have all failed our ways to success. But for God's sake, don't be straitjacketed by the syllabus, no matter how great the teacher is. The teacher is the enemy. We have a great tradition in Maharashtra of the Ganpati Utsav. We pray to Lord Ganesh, and finally, the prayer is not complete till we finally take it and immerse him into the ocean. You have to demolish your gods. You have to let go of your model. Because the model is the enemy. He prevents you from coming into your own. It's not for nothing that a Zen master said, if you meet the Buddha in the road, kill him. Because it is he that is preventing you from discovering your uniqueness. And I think all institutions, as Singh Saab is a living embodiment of that. While he heads this institution, he in his heart aspires to make you all free of the syllabus, and he who is the head of the institution. Good luck to you. Have a great life.
Thank you, sir. That was indeed very inspiring. Dare to be yourself. I'm sure that's something we'll all take back with us. I now request our Director General, Dr. Preetam Singh, to kindly present a memento to Mr. Mahesh Bhatt as a small token of our appreciation.
Well, I think I was told by my teacher, never try to follow a great person because you can't do that much justice. But a couple of things, which he said. Kavira wrote something very interesting. Pandit baad badai su jhootha. Pandit baad badai su jhootha. Whatever he speaks or she speaks, don't believe in that.
Also means don't believe in what I say.
I think that Mahesh has said something very interesting, that questioning mind, inventing mind is a growing mind. Questioning mind is a changing mind. And that was a great message to me. But I think that though you said that you should not believe in me, but I would like to say something where there is a timeless wisdom and boundaryless wisdom. And that comes from Mahabharata. That when Dharmaraja goes to Yaksha, and Yaksha puts 4 questions. And one of the questions was, Kaha Pantha, which path I should follow? And Dharmaraja said something very interesting. And that's what you said in many ways, that Veda Vivinna is Smritiya Vivinna. The Vedas talk different kinds of language. Smritiya talks about different kind of language. Naso Mundri Jasamitam Vinnam. That's what he said, that every human being is very unique human being. So that's why even Munis, there is no agreement. And he said, so Dharma Sattvatvam Nihitam Guhayam. What is the good and what is the bad? It's buried under the mountain. So what you should do? He said, Mahajano Je Nagatha Sapantha. Those who are the good people, those who talk about the wisdom, those who give a very good diksha, try to follow them. Try to follow what Maheshji has said. Thank you very much, sir, for your coming and giving a tremendous sense of wisdom. And I think that it's a great education, not for those who are entering in life, those who have entered in life like me know that how to change. Non-change is a sign of death. Change is the only sign of life. So long as you are changing your life. And that's why Maheshji even looks towards much younger than 16-year-old boys and girls. So, again, on behalf of all my students, faculty colleagues, on my own behalf, sir, thank you very much for spending some time with us.
Thank you, sir. Kindly accept the memento as a small token of our appreciation. Also present with us today is Mr. Ajay Kanchan. We would like a memento to be presented to him as well. Thank you, sir.
On behalf of everyone present here, I express my sincere gratitude to Mr. Mahesh Bhatt for taking out time from his busy schedule to make such a thought-provoking inaugural address. We are delighted to receive valuable insights from you, sir. Your presence today is a great source of motivation for us. I'm sure that we shall keep in our minds all that you have said and try and imbibe this knowledge into our decisions, rather reinvent ourselves and become the managers of the future. I would like to thank our Director General, Dr. Preetham Singh, for his support, valuable contribution, guidance, and encouragement. We are extremely thankful to the faculty members of IMI for their gracious presence. I would also like to thank all the new students who are joining this year for their presence and participation. Last but not the least, I would like to thank the members of the media for their keen interest in covering the event.
Ladies and gentlemen, with this we conclude the inaugural address of the induction program. We are sure that this session has been extremely enlightening for each and every one present here. I request the guests to proceed for high tea in the lobby area. Students, kindly remain seated.